You are listening to the Built to Grow podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. It's the final day of 2020. A big sigh of relief. We're all fingers crossed for the next year. Before I dive into today's episode, I want to make mention of something that's important. Last couple episodes, I mentioned our CLA workshop. Unfortunately, something's come up and we have a conflict of interest on those dates. So the CLA workshop is going to be pushed back 1 week. It's going to be January 21st and 22nd. Again, the CLA workshop for next month is going to be January 21st and 22nd. But for today's episode, we're going to talk about the end of the year. We're going to recap the year. I'm going to give you some things that I want you to focus on as you look towards 2021. I guess we'll just dive in. Another big, a bit of information that just came out. By the time you're hearing this, it's probably about a week old or so. But the PPP loans, if you received a PPP loan previously, they just released some information on businesses that will qualify for a second loan. It appears that if you can provide evidence to show 1 quarter, whether it be Q1 to Q1 or Q2 to Q2, if you could show 25% loss year over year between 2019 and 2020, you should be able to provide, you will be qualified for a second round of PPP loans. Now, sometimes this information may change, but as you're listening to this podcast, or as this podcast was recorded, today is the 24th, it's Christmas Eve. That was truth. So double check, make sure, but that's the information on the PPP loans. For 2020, I want to shift focus and I want us to look at the year. This was a tough one. Our industry, for lack of a better term, was kind of decimated. Overnight we were responsible for becoming lawyers and everything, battling a virus, battling our government's handlings of it, the mandates, the restrictions, capacity, all of this. And then, the fear in the marketplace on top of everything, we had a lot to overcome. So first and foremost, if you're still sitting here, if you're still listening, hats off, guys. Give yourself a pat on the back. This has been a very tough year. I do know that some of you were able to take advantage and actually, ascend your businesses throughout the chaos. I commend you for being able to do that, in spite of all of the adversity this year. But let's look at the data from 2020. We were forced to make changes to the business, cutting expenses, canceling subscriptions, all sorts of different ways of mitigating some of that loss. And so think about what you did in 2020 that you want to carry over for 2021. Did you go through your software programs or your subscription services? And did you cut out some of those things? Did it affect the business in a negative manner? If not, my recommendation is try running a little bit leaner in 2021, keeping those subscriptions out of the business, controlling some more of those expenses and focusing more on that net revenue, increasing that net revenue right off the bat by cutting some more if you can. As far as other systems that you had to change, did you add something like virtual training options or online coaching? Are these poles in the water, or are these services in your business that you want to continue and maintain? Did you expand your business and find new opportunity just simply based upon the need to do so? Let's parlay that stuff and really capitalize on what we were able to do in 2020, not just assess the damage, but utilize the information. Ultimately, the premise here is going to be to run a leaner ship. The beginning of 2020, Tim expressed that our goal, I guess in both businesses, Profit and Pulse, the gym side, was to run more focused on net revenue, not being so concerned about that gross, that number We express that it's a feel good. It's good for the ego. It's rough when it comes to paying taxes and giving away money and things like that. But the net revenue, what you're able to do with the capital that you keep, is really what matters when it comes to it. And so that's the capital that can create the freedom for you, for your employee, additionally, maybe for your employees or the people that you care about. So as we shift focus and we look towards 2021, my recommendation now is, if you haven't already, plan a team meeting. Get your team together. Before then, right? Sit down yourself, lay out your goals. What is your revenue goal for the year? Start there, right? Let's break down micro goals. What is it monthly? What does that mean? What are you producing each week in order to do that? How many sales does it have to happen? Or it has to happen in order for that you to reach that goal? All of these things is really what's going to help you excel as early as next week. This is the time, guys. It's not going to happen come March. It's not going to happen halfway through the year. We can't sit around and wait to, figure out when these mandates and things are going to change. We have to continue doing what we do, and we have to adapt and overcome. We weren't dealt these cards. Somebody else, threw these in our face. We just have the choice of how we're going to respond to it. But game plan. So then once you have your goals, once you have the team's goals, sit down with the team, express those goals with your team. I could tell you, I know that, as an employee, I've always appreciated knowing the target, knowing what we're aiming for, understanding that even though it's not my lane, there are things outside of my lane that I can support to help us all reach that goal. Your team would love to hear the same. So bring the team in, make sure that you're attacking things right now. The next recommendation would be plan out your marketing. If you don't have a marketing campaign set for 2021, reach out. We have our Profit GPS program. You can take a look, profitgps.net. It's a 365-day marketing calendar, complete with the assets that you can run. And so you drop these poles in the water, continue to grow your business. But business isn't going to just happen. It will happen, but it doesn't mean it's going to grow. Referral-based businesses aren't scalable in, the same capacity. They're not you can't forecast the same. Give yourself some winning tickets, choose a little bit different path, forecast, have a little bit more intent, and then discipline that action. Really think that 2021 is going to be a different year for us. I think that the virus, the handlings of it, the way that Americans are made to feel, globally people are feeling, health is going to be on the forefront of our minds for a long time, or for the next, foreseeable future. Right now, it's our obligation to change. One thing that we know, and one thing we can take from this, is the damages something like COVID did to a population that just doesn't take care of themselves, guys. That's our job. That's what we're here for. That's more than our jobs. It's a lot of our passions and our purpose. That's our why. Let's get out there and knock it out of the park. So I hope everybody has a happy New Year's. Stay safe. Obviously, this is, one of the days that everybody's out. So highly recommend, using those Ubers, using those taxis, driving safe, don't drink too much. And we'll see you next year.